And a friend of mine says, hey, look at what happened. You called them up, are putting a 360 Ferrari Modena in a 60 Rambler wagon, and you live up in startup. What do you think they're going to say? You know, over the period of time, people either loved it or hated it. The Ferrari guys were calling us crackhoes, hillbillies, rednecks, you know, but, you know, hot rod's always about changing stuff. We even had Rambler guys, you know, what a way to F up a perfectly good Rambler. So, I mean, you can't keep everybody happy. My name's Tim Divers from Divers Street Rods, and I build hot rods. I've been building street rods for about 26 years or better, but I grew up around cars, so I've been working on cars all my life. When my brother and I were growing up in a little small town called Fall City, if we wanted a cool car, we had to learn how to paint, or we needed to learn how to do upholstery. We couldn't afford to have somebody do it, so we just kind of either hung around guys that were doing it, or got books, or read hot rod, or whatever we needed to do, and we just kind of learned as we went, and that's kind of how we got involved in the car industry. I like building hot rods because an expression of what you think that a car should be like. Hot rods have always been about taking an old car and mixing it with whatever to either have a faster motor in it or better suspension, and it's such a unique thing for me to see all these guys doing it. And there's not a wrong way to build a hot rod. You know, you may not like the color they've done, or you might not like, you know, the wheels they put on it, but you know, you can appreciate it for it's their thing. You know, Ferrambo was a car that was started for a customer of ours, a young guy that works for us, Nick Lampert, and we decided that, you know, we'd go a little bit different direction with it, and we were always going to do a Ferrari-powered car for him. Craig had came up here in his new 360 Ferrari, and we looked at it and we thought, you know what, that's almost, can I come up and measure it? And then I called Mike, and Mike has a high-end dealership, and he has Ferraris and Lamborghinis at Grand Prix Imports in Wilsonville, Oregon. And I talked to him and I said, well, what do you think? And he says, you know, why not? So, and then just like all the cars, they take a life of their own on it. It's one of those things where all of a sudden, okay, it's a Ferrari power plant, but it's a Rambler wagon. Okay, let's lop off the nose of it to make it look like a Lusso Ferrari, you know? Like, what would Ferrari have done in the early 60s? What would their station wagon look like, you know? And we couldn't change I guess the engineering of the motor, so that when you look inside, it's new age, but the interior, that's why the steering wheel was hand laminated out of teak to make it look like an old Nardo wheel. You know, we did a lot of things kind of trying to tie the two things together, and Pininfarina did some design work for American Motors at one time, I think in the 50s, I believe. So yeah, Ferrambo is probably the most controversial car we've ever done. When we started the project, the hurdles we needed to get over were you know, the wiring issues and the motor management, and Ferrari won't let you get in there and do anything to their computers and stuff. So we needed basic information. That's when we went with the Motec standalone system. And I called the Ferrari guys, and they pretty much wrote me off. The thing is, you know, now we're doing Cadillac Brougham for Bob Dando, and it's running that Duramax diesel twin turbocharged. You know, it was one of 400 cars built, so it's going to be different for us. I don't know if there'll ever be like a Ferrambo, but who knows? I'm Tim Divers, and you're watching StreetFire.net.